Hello and welcome to my live today. I want to welcome everybody and thank you for being here and thank you for watching. Welcome to the replay for those of you who are watching the replay. So, what I wanted to do today is I want to talk a little bit about a question that I got in response to last week's call that I did. Now or last week's live. So if you haven't watched last week's live, you can go back, just scroll through the page. It's just a couple of posts down from this one. And you'll see that I did a bunch of Q&A on last week's live. And one of the questions was like, how do I stand out? How do I get people to buy my product, get people to pay attention to me and what I'm doing? And so I mentioned that there were several different ways that you and your products can stand out. One way is that the product itself is like a wow product. Another way is that you serve a very specific niche. And then the other way I said it can actually be your personality. It can be your personality that helps you stand out. And I gave the example of some of my clients. Michelle King is kind of in the Handmade Sellers Club is known for just being fun and out there a little bit. And then, we have the tie-dye ladies. They have a lot of fun and they kind of have these outrageous personalities on their Facebook page. And that is a good way to actually stand out and to get people to pay attention to what it is you're doing. I'm going to pull my live up over here. I want to make sure that I'm not missing it if I'm getting comments, because I'm seeing like some activity on here, but like usually when the activity I'm seeing happens, there's comments. And if there's not, that's fine. I just want to make sure that I am running okay here. All right. Yep. All right. I am live. I just wanted to be sure. Okay. So somebody came on. I think it was, I've got her name here. Barbara Pierce had replied to that comment or to that video and said, what if, so she specifically said, personalities are different and not all have that great standout personalities. How do introverts make it work? So the first thing I want to say about that is exactly what I said originally here, which was not everybody needs to necessarily use personality to stand out. We use my personality like 0% in the rabbit toy marketing. And it's not because, I have a bad personality. I don't think that's the reason why. But the niche that we were serving, the product in that particular niche just stands on its own. There was not that much need for my personality. Now, I still do things that reflect my personality. It still definitely influences how I talk in emails that I send to people in that niche, the posts that I make. There's definitely some of my personality is there, but not a lot of it. They wouldn't really be able to go like, oh, that's so Allie. Like, that's not really what I'm leaning on when I'm promoting that particular business and those particular products. I am leaning much more on the fact that I have a product that a very particular niche wants and enjoys. So in that case, personality is like maybe 1-2% of it, right? Very, very small. We didn't even like doing in-person shows because I didn't really, the niche that we're in there, I don't want to say I'm not one of them, but it's like I just didn't want to be one of them. They had kind of their own cliques and their own, it's a small community. And I'm like, I just don't want to be sucked into that. I don't want to get sucked into the drama that's going on between people. I don't want to be the source of any of that drama. So I've kept myself at a distance because it is a small niche that I don't necessarily identify with. So we did not do that, right? So we did not put personality. So to answer Barbara that, yeah, personalities are different. How do introverts make it work? So if you're an introverted person and you're looking to start using Facebook for your marketing, then you might get kind of you might get kind of overwhelmed that you're putting yourself out there in a way that you're not used to. And that's perfectly normal to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm about to expose myself, and like people are going to see me and hear me, and I don't know how I feel about that. That's perfectly normal. That's perfectly normal to feel that way. When you're an introvert and you start to put yourself out there, a little bit of your personality out there, even presenting your products can sometimes feel a little intimidating, because we imagine people are judging us, and we imagine that people are not going to have kind or good things to say about our products, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So what I say to that is you're really going to have to take these baby steps and get yourself used to the idea of becoming more and more visible in your business. But you always have control as to how far you go. Just like I said with the rabbit toy business, I am very, very, very conservative when it comes to my personality. I do not show too much of who I am, because that's just not what I want to do in that business. And yet other people in the handmade world, I've talked about, several of my clients that are much more out there, they're able to take it all the way to the other extreme, and they're like no holds barred. They just say whatever comes to mind, and they're completely open books when it comes to presenting themselves on their Facebook page. So with all of that being said, you've got to find your happy place amongst this. But I'm always going to kind of push you a little bit to try to be a little bit more open than what you would normally be. Try to kind of expose that soft underbelly a bit more than what you would normally do, because everything that you want is on the other side of what makes you uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable, like putting ourselves out there, putting our products out there, and yeah, people might judge us, and yeah, people might say things. But the truth is if you're not willing to expose yourself at some level, then you are making your products and your business completely invisible. So when you think about being an introvert trying to sell online, then you've got to think, how much do I want this? How much do I want this business to grow? If you are afraid for anybody to see you or your products or anything you have to do or say, and you keep it all hidden, then you're not going to get to where you want to be. People are starting businesses for lots of different reasons. Think about your reason. Is it for freedom? Is it for flexibility in your schedule? Is it to pursue this passion that you have? Is it to kind of prove to the world that you can do it and you can stand on your own 2 feet? I know that was a big motivator for my husband, maybe a bit more than me. That one was a big one. For me, it was freedom. I say that a lot. It was freedom. So you got to get really clear about why it is you're doing what you're doing. And then realize that in order to get to that place where you want to go, you have to do things you haven't done before. And that's always going to be a level of uncomfortability. Again, I'm not saying you have to go full bore and like expose your entire life to the internet. That is not necessary whatsoever. But you do have to have a level of exposure to your marketplace. Now, what some people worry about is, okay, so I start posting to Facebook, and maybe I'm doing some selfies, and I'm doing a little bit of that. Like, how far is too far? How far, like, you tell me to be natural and be myself, but how far is too far? I'm putting myself out there, but how do I know if I've crossed a line? That's hard to say. Very few people that I've seen have crossed the line, in my opinion, because normally their followers absolutely love seeing more and more of them on their newsfeed. Crossing the line for me is showing up in my pajamas. Crossing the line for me is not even attempting to make my hair behave. It's got to be at least an attempt. It may not work, but it's at least an attempt. Crossing the line for me personally is cursing a lot. I'll curse here or there. But I feel like I'm being a little too casual by cursing a lot. And it's just my upbringing. It's, I do curse now, but I didn't when I was younger. I was told it wasn't appropriate for a professional setting. And so I tend to curb it. Too far to me is also getting off topic and staying off topic for a period of time. So right now, if I started talking to you about, I don't know, there's not a dog in here, but like if I went on a 10-minute rant about my dog, and stories about my dog, it's perfectly fine for me to mention my dog. I just did, right? I just mentioned my dog. It's perfectly fine to mention your dog, but telling a lot of stories and making that the focus when you're supposed to be talking about something else, something that you promised them that you were there for, your products, your business, spending your whole time talking about your dogs is probably a bit too far. Okay. So we want to stay within range to where we are staying on the topic of our business, not pushing our own boundaries of what we consider professional. Although even then, like some people are like, oh, I couldn't dare go online if I didn't have my makeup on. For me, that's a personal goal of mine is to get everybody to go online without makeup. Like I say, if men can go online without makeup, if men can go out in public without makeup on, then I can go out in public without makeup on. That's my personal philosophy, right? So yeah, you don't have to, say, oh, well, being, exposing myself. I keep saying exposing, but like, presenting myself and my products online, I have to, do the whole world. I have to tell them about my relationships and what I had for lunch. No, you do not have to do that. Keep it on the subject of your business. And in that case, the more positive reinforcement you get of people that really love what it is that you do, that are really in your corner and fans of yours, they're going to like seeing you loosen up a little bit more. They're going to want to hear a little bit about this or that. But the more reinforcement you get that people are really happy to hear from you, the more comfortable that you're going to get. And even as introverts, because believe it or not, I am an introvert. I'm like what they call like an introvert extrovert. Like I want to be home. I don't like to be around people. People exhaust me. I get totally exhausted, and yet I can stand in front of a room and give a presentation. I can do these lives, right? That stuff doesn't scare me. I can do it, but it's like I just don't want to have to be around people, and I need space from people, and I like working home alone. I like it when everybody in my family leaves me alone. You know what I mean? And when I first started doing lives, I was very self-conscious. I was very like, everybody's seeing me, everybody's looking at me. But it turns out it was okay. People really resonated with what I was talking about. And the more positive reinforcement you get with that, the easier it is to express yourself. So then the other thing that I hear a lot of people say is my personality isn't very interesting. I'm sure Michelle King can do that. And I see Suzanne Peterson is on. She said, thanks for pushing us to do this. You're very welcome. Suzanne's got a great personality on her lives and such. Amy and Jody with the tie-dye. There are some personalities I think about that are in Handmade Sellers Club that are just big personalities. They present themselves in a large way, and people are having fun, and everybody's like, you guys crack me up. Well, for introverts, we see that and we think, well, I can't do that. I'm boring. I'm not very interesting. And to that I say, bullcrap. I mean, just the fact that you own your own business and you're making the crafts that you're interesting to somebody. There's somebody out there who thinks that your story is interesting. In fact, there's probably a lot of people out there who think your story is interesting and that what you do is interesting. So it's not so much that you have to be a big personality. It's not so much that you have to be a naturally easy to talk to kind of person, easy to talk. When I go to networking events, I am just an awkward pile of pudding. Like I'm so awkward, just like wandering around. Like, I wonder if anybody wants to talk to me, because I that's just how I am. I'm very, very quiet, and that's perfect. That's fine. But where was I going with that? So yeah, at those networking events, I don't have a big personality, but if I sit down one-on-one with somebody, I can really connect because I start talking to them about how I can help them. How can I help you? What are you struggling with? I'm happy to help you. And in that way, I'm able to talk to them because I'm not just going around casually shaking hands with people I don't know, and whether or not they're, interested in anything I have to say. Like that makes me a bit more nervous. So when it comes to presenting yourself online, it's not that you have to be a social butterfly and easy conversation starter or anything like that. It does help if you have communication skills. If you don't have communication skills, you can develop them. But communication skills is just the ability to talk about what it is you're doing or talk about what it is that you're thinking. You don't have to, have lived an amazing life and just gone crazy everywhere, and been a super social person. In school I was not social. Like, I've not been a social person for most of my life, but I'm really comfortable talking about what I'm passionate about. And if you can tap into that with your posts, with your lives, with your videos, with anything that you're doing in order to present yourself and your products out into the world, if you tap into that passion that you have for the thing that it is you're doing, then you're going to have an interesting personality. You're going to come across as interesting. You're passionate about the product. You're passionate. Every single one of you. There's not been a person, one, that I have talked to. When people come into Handmade Sellers Club, and there's people that I've done one-on-ones with, and I talk to them, and I'm like, you have a passion. It's either passion about people and making people happy, or it's a passion about the craft itself and how much fun it is, or it's a passion about how your product brings a smile to people's face. It could be a passion about the ingredients that you put into your product. Every single one of you has some sort of passion. Maybe the business itself is a passion. So when we started the rabbit toy business, for me, it was twofold. It was, I loved animals, so that was definitely a passion of mine. But I loved the business side of it too. And so I took the passion I had for my business and tried to funnel that into the talking about my products and how excited I was about the products, because I was excited about my business. And so I just channeled that into talking about the products. So when you really, get clear about what it is you're passionate about, and that's what you talk about. Now, I'm not saying that if you have a soap business, you should sit and talk all about the business aspect of the soap business, although it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you still have to make sure you're featuring the soap too, right? Because that's ultimately what people are there for. But you can incorporate some of that into there. Like, hey, as a small business, these are some of the things that I encounter. These are some of the things I've learned. This is how I've grown as a person. This is why I'm so passionate about it. These are my plans for the future. And again, it just makes it so much easier for you to have a lot to talk about, without necessarily being scripted. I'm scripted 0% here today. Maybe it's obvious, but I'm scripted 0% here because all I need to do is talk about what it is I'm already passionate and want to talk about, right? I'm just talking. And the more you dig into that, both being very clear about what your why is to help you push past the box that you're in that's keeping you from the results that you want. So getting really clear about your why, and also getting really clear about what your passion is within this business, and you're going to find things get much, much easier. That being said, like I said at the beginning, like, you do not have to have a business that's based on your personality. You just don't have to. And that's, again, what I did with the rabbit toy business, is I kind of kept myself separate from the rabbit toy business, and I focused more on the product and the niche itself. So if you have an amazing product, or if you are delivering to a very specific niche, the personality side is not unimportant. You can't act like a mindless drone. You can't talk like a big corporation and expect things to work. But you can lean a bit more on the uniqueness of your product and the uniqueness of the niche that you're serving, and less about the uniqueness of your own personality. So I'm hoping that this has been helpful for you guys. Let me know if this is helpful. Hello, Valerie. I'm going to look at comments real quick. Terry said, so true about makeup. Like I am making a stand and planting a flag. Now, if I were to get like professional headshots or something like that, and they want to put foundation on, or, cover up this big old zit that I got going on here right now, I totally get that. But you know what? That's when they put makeup on men too. My whole point is that, like, if a man is it's a socially acceptable for a man to just show up with his face in any social situation, and he does not have to, even if he's got bad skin, even if he's got blotchy skin, even if he has wrinkles, even if he has whatever, it's okay for him to show up in public looking the way that he does. If it's okay for him, it's okay for me. And also, not like hating on makeup. Like, if people like makeup, that's fine. For me, it was this point where I noticed that I couldn't leave the house without it when I used to wear it. And I'm like, why do I feel like I can't just look the way that I want to look? And I'm fully supportive of men who want to wear makeup. Like, men, women, children, I don't care. If you want to wear makeup, wear makeup. But it drives me nuts that there's like this expectation that you need to wear makeup. Kind of like the expectation that women should wear heels. Well, I can't. Like, I literally can't. So too bad. That may be your expectation, but that's not what's happening here. That's not what I'm going to be doing. All that being said, I wear dresses all the time. Like 95% of my wardrobe is dresses. So it's what I want. It's what I want. So I had to kind of teach myself to get comfortable with not having the makeup. And this has been like probably 20 years. It's probably been 10 years or better since I stopped wearing like any kind of lip gloss or lipstick. Lip gloss was the last thing I had. And now sometimes I kind of want some, like my face will look washed out. And I'm like, oh, a little bit of red on the lips wouldn't be too bad. But I don't have any, so it doesn't. I literally own 0 makeup items. Yeah. Let's see. Kimber said, loving all this, got to get the kiddo from preschool, but coming back to watch later. Yes, the replay will be up immediately after this. Lynn says, I never go live without makeup, at least a light layer. I mean, so that's me, right? But what I will say is, don't let the lack of being fully made up hold you back from doing what you need to do. Yes, feel good about doing what you're doing. And I'm always going to root on the side of no, it's so much, it's so free. I feel so free. I feel so free without makeup. But don't let the hang up of like, oh my God, I can't possibly go live right now because I don't have makeup. We are living in while a lot of people are saying the internet has made people more shallow, I'm seeing quite the opposite. I'm on TikTok a lot. I really do enjoy TikTok. I think it's great. And I'm seeing people like literally in their pajamas with bedhead making fantastic points. And I'm learning from them. And I'm like, yeah, and you just look like a person who's living in their home and who had a thought. I was telling my husband yesterday, it's like before TikTok, I didn't realize like just how natural it was to see people in their underwear. I see people in their underwear on TikTok all the time. And I'm like, it's not a big deal. I think we have so much pressure on ourselves that we have to put forward this facade, especially online. But I got to tell you guys, I am and I don't know about you, but I am tired of beautiful people. I'm tired of it. It's so boring. It's that way with number one, online influencers, all that. Anymore, if I see somebody on my timeline and they're pretty, like I almost discriminate against them. Like, I don't want to hear what you have to say. Like, I'm so tired of it. On TV shows, we watch more British TV now than we did before. I need more shows because they look like people. They look like real people. This whole and this is, again, it's not against beautiful people. Good for you if you're beautiful. Good for you. but it's against this kind of pressure that we need to match that ideal in order to be presentable online or in public. And that's kind of what I'm pushing against, is like, no, no. I'm just tired of it. I'm like, how boring. We're watching Grey's Anatomy. And if you compare the beginning, the first season of Grey's Anatomy, compared to, I think we're on season 9 or 10. We've never watched it before. It's something we're going through as a family. The kids are a little bit ahead of us, ahead of Tim and I. But every new character that they bring on is hotter than the last. And even Dr. Bailey, they have glammed her up. And it makes me mad. I'm like, she was perfectly fine the way she was. She looked like a real person. People in the first season looked like real people. And now they're just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And I'm like, my eyes are glazing over. So embrace who you are. I really think that what people are craving is realness, being real and genuine. And if you're hot and real and genuine, great, good for you. But you know, if you're more like this and you're real and genuine, nobody's going to sit there and judge you because you didn't do your hair right, and because you didn't do your makeup right, and because whatever it is. You know, there is a level of professionalism that, again, I hold myself to, just because that's still where my brain is and that's where I'm comfortable. And it's not hard for me to get there, you know, just make sure the hair isn't standing straight up and that I'm wearing clothes. Then I'm good. And that there's not like a lot of distractions in the background. I think that's disrespectful to the audience when there's a lot of distraction happening in the background. But other than that, I try to show up and be real. And I encourage you guys to do the same. Show up and be real. If you're an introvert, tell people. You know, don't try to hide it. Don't try to pretend to be what you're not. Tell people that you're an introvert. Tell people, oh, I get nervous on these lives, but I always love talking to you guys, so I'm coming on here again. And even though I get nervous, I really do have a lot of fun. Maybe you're not having fun at first, and you could just be like, I'm just really nervous on this live. And people are going to rally to your corner, and they want to connect with you. They want you to be real. They want to connect with real people. That's all I'm saying on that. No need to put on airs, no need to put on a facade, no need to put on this illusion that somehow we live like this perfect life. Yeah. All right. Rose said very informative. I'm glad that it was helpful. The comments like jump. Linda says, I never wear makeup. Stay strong. But again, I'm seeing more and more of that where people are just saying, you know what? Like that whole beauty standard, like just crush the beauty standard. You do what you want to do. If that means makeup and nails and high heels, great. But I never think anybody should feel like I have to do that in order to be acceptable. Let's see. Why does it keep bouncing? I hate that. Terry says, I love that attitude. I haven't worn it in decades. Yeah, it's been, I mean, once I had kids, most of it went. The lipstick stayed for a while because I can also use it to, I would put it on my lips and then I put just a dot on each cheek and I'd go like that and boom, makeup. And I don't have great skin, guys. You know, like it's not looking too bad here, but there's a reason why that bad boy is there. Not great skin at all. Nancy says, I don't wear makeup either, except very special occasions. Yeah, it's, I cannot think, like, if I were to have a real wedding, like my husband and I just had kind of like a courtroom type thing. If I were to, you know, just have as an adult right here like this, like go to a real wedding, would I wear makeup? Maybe lipstick. Maybe. Like, I don't know. I just can't. I almost got in a debate with this woman that wants to do headshots with me. Not a debate, but I was like, I just don't want to wear it. And if you tell me I have to, then I'm not going to feel like that's me in the picture because this is what I look like. And she's like, just some like light foundation to even out the skin tone. I'm like, she said, that's what we do for the guys. I'm like, if that's what you do for the guys, then I'm okay with it. All right. Rose said, I wear it when I want to. I don't feel obligated to wear it every day. I love that. Terry said, I was just typing that about British TV. Yeah, it is so much more natural and real. I love British TV. They talk more like real people and they look like real people. You know, we watch Doctor Who. We watch Ghosts. If you guys haven't been watching Ghosts, like, again, I don't want to get in a side tangent, but Ghosts on HBO, the British version, fantastic. Fantastic. Really good TV. Suzanne said, I'm binging Grey's right now too and had that same thought last night. Yeah, like I appreciate Dr. Avery. He is very pretty. I'm glad they brought him on. But I walked into the kids' room and they're on like season 13. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like a Ken and Barbie marathon. Like, I'm so not interested in any of these people. Yeah. And there was, it's not that there weren't beautiful people at the beginning of the season. There were, but they were mixed with like regular people. At least there was a mix. But you see that on a lot of sitcoms. The Office is a good one where they did not go all, you know, and I think it's because it was made up of comedians. Like they cast comedians, and even half the people on The Office are barely actors. So that really seemed to help. There are not a lot of beautiful people on The Office, which I appreciate. Linda says, I never know what to say and end up saying stupid stuff. So when it comes to doing like lives and things like that, it's okay if you want to kind of have an outline. Like, this is what I'm going on to talk about. I knew what I was coming on here to talk about, right? I put it in the title. I knew basically what I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to stay on that subject. Oftentimes we're judging ourselves for saying something really stupid. And here's the secret, guys. You can't get better at it until you do it a lot. And then critique yourself and say, oh, you know, that part there, I would have liked to have stayed on subject a little bit better there. I would have liked to maybe have not told a story like that. So you're just mindful of it the next time. No judging. No, oh my God, I was terrible. This was absolutely horrible. Every time you go live, and for those of you in Handmade Sellers Club, just in case you didn't hear, we are doing a Facebook Live challenge next week. If you are not in Handmade Sellers Club and you want to get comfortable with going live, you need to join Handmade Sellers Club. You can take the 2-week trial for just $7 right now. And that would get you, even if you just stayed for the 2 weeks, which I have a feeling once you come in and you see how amazing HSC is, you're going to stay. But even if you only stayed for those 2 weeks, you would be there for the Facebook Live challenge. And that's a challenge where we have you go live in a special Facebook group that we created just for the live challenge. And you go live in that Facebook group, not in front of your friends and family, not in front of your customers, but right there in the Facebook group. Help gets all the nerves out, and it allows you to practice going live. And we also give you prompts. This is what to say during the Facebook Live, so that you have a direction to go, right? So you don't feel like, okay, it's live. What do I talk about now? So yeah, having I'm going to drop the link for that, just, you know, in case anybody here is like, I really need help with that. Why does it not show that there we go. So I'll drop the link. The link that I'm sharing there is, again, 2-week trial for $7. You can come into Handmade Sellers Club. There's a million reasons to join Handmade Sellers Club, but the live challenge is definitely a good one. That's a good one. So yeah, you can join the group. You're going to get, you can join Handmade Sellers Club, get into the live challenge group, the group that we make specifically for that, and then practice 5 days next week, 5 days in a row where you're going live in a safe group where it's just other handmade sellers like you who are there to support you and give you the encouragement that you need, and also give you some of the feedback that you need. Oh, I couldn't hear you very well, or the video was sideways, or you did kind of go off on a tangent there. Maybe keep it a little bit tighter. And it's all from love, but it will help you, get used to what you're doing with the Facebook Lives, and kind of get all those nerves out of your system so that you can start going Facebook Live and being real and genuine with your own followers. So yeah, I mean, the long and short of it, Linda, is try not to overjudge yourself about saying stupid stuff, because maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Take a serious look at it and say, hey, if I don't want to say that kind of stuff, what can I do to keep myself on track? And then two, do those things. If you need just a little bit of an outline, great. But also make sure you don't sacrifice interacting with the people in the comments, just like I've been doing here, right? Don't sacrifice interacting with people in the comments because you want to try to keep on track of exactly what it has you have outlined. The beauty of a live is that it is spontaneous and it is conversational, and there is a back and forth there, hopefully, if people show up, right? And if you're having a hard time getting people to show up for your live, you really need to join Handmade Sellers Club, because we teach you how to get people more engaged and higher likelihood that they're going to attend things like lives and live sales, where you can make a crap ton of money. That's an official term, a crap ton of money. And then the other thing I want to leave you guys with is one of my favorite sayings is the only way out is through. The only way you can get better at any of this stuff, that you can get more comfortable, that you can feel more comfortable in your own skin, the only way that you can get your products out there, your business out there, is to do and get better. The only way to get to where you want to be is to go through the things that you haven't done before and that may make you a little bit uncomfortable and that are going to stretch you and going to stretch your comfort zone, right? The only way to get better is to do. It's the only way. I was talking to my good buddy Duncan. He's my new BFF. My good buddy Duncan last week. And we were talking about this, and he was saying the same thing. He said, everybody wants to be perfect from out of the gate. And that's just not possible. It's just literally not possible. We all have to screw up. We all have to make mistakes. We all have to go through uncomfortable times and times when we wish things would have gone a little bit better, but it did what it did. And now we can learn. And that's the beauty of being a human being on this planet, is our ability to learn and adjust. That's amazing that we can take feedback and say, ooh, here's how I can do it better. Here's what I can do better. And sometimes it's hard for us to see it. And that's why it's so important to have a community around you that can help you. Don't do this alone. I have run businesses by myself, and I have run businesses with other people around me, mentors, colleagues, a mastermind that I was part of. I will never run a business by myself again. I am constantly messaging people that, colleagues and mentors that I have, and saying, I'm struggling with something. I'm not sure that I'm seeing this correctly. Can you help me see it through your eyes? The only way to get better at taking photos is to have other people give you feedback on your photos. The only way to do better with videos is, yes, you need to pay attention to, but also other people that are going to be honest with you and want to help you, give you that feedback so that you can get better. Because the better you get, the better your business grows. The better you get, the more money you make. The better you get, the more freedom you get, the more flexibility you get. And all of those things, the time with your kids, the time with your husband, helping to retire your spouse from their work, being able to retire yourself from work, supplementing your retirement income to go on vacations, whatever that is for you, you've got to take action and move forward so that you can get better and better and better, and you can ultimately achieve that goal. So I want to leave you with that. I hope that that is inspiring to you, and that you are going to approach your business with a little bit more confidence today and tomorrow and the day after that, and realize that people do want to hear from you. People do want the products that you have. You're probably not perfect, but every day in every way you are getting better and better. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys. I will talk to you next week. I don't think I'm doing a live next week. I think we're going to do one the week after that. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.